77-52 is the final. UConn with an absolute beatdown in Boston of the Illinois Fighting Illini. Donovan Clingan, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks. He had 3 steals as well. Cam Spencer, 11 points, 12 rebounds. Hassan Diar, 11 points. This was a clinic in the second half. It was a 5-point lead at the half. Then they go on this 30-0 run, and UConn will play in back-to-back Final Fours for the first time ever. CBS Sports HQ is presented by Jersey Mike's, a sub above. And you know who's playing above everyone else? UConn. Wow. Are you kidding me? What we just saw?
Especially in the second half. They looked like they were playing 2 different sports. You almost started to root for Illinois just to score. Because I was like, are they going to score?
I'm drinking that Connecticut water.
Are they going to score? Yep, there it is. There's the Connecticut. That's Connecticut water right there.
Hydration leads to domination.
Where do you want to begin? I'll start with this. Donovan Clingan, I thought his performance was the best performance so far of the NCAA tournament. I thought Braden Smith was sensational yesterday. Almost had a triple-double. Zach Edey had 30 and 20, but that was against Grambling. Folks, this was to go to a Final Four, and I'm not sure if he dominated Clingan more on the defensive end or more on the offensive end. I mean, steals, blocks, intimidates. Illinois got in the lane. They were like, what are we supposed to do? That was an amazing performance. It's awesome that UConn is going to get to the Final Four. It's going to just build the hype. I think Illinois played its worst game of the year, but I think a lot of that had to do with UConn. You know, obviously they weren't making shots. They shot 26% from the field, 25% from 3. But UConn just took Illinois out of everything they wanted to do. And this game was competitive. First half spread came down to the last shot. Got a little alley-oop. He kind of missed the flipper. It was still a competitive game until a 30-0 run. It's the longest UConn run since 1992 when they went on a 32-0 run against New Hampshire at that time.
Yeah, they have won 10 straight games in the tournament by 13-plus points. Their differential through 4 tournament games is plus 111. If this sounds familiar to last year, that's because it is. And this team, Tim, I would argue, is actually better than last year's team. Can you agree with that? Do you agree or disagree on that?
I'm not ready to crown them just yet. I know that the Eye on College Basketball podcast had this conversation. By the way, folks, Iona, their 2 guards, Jenkins and Clayton, went on to bigger glory at St. John's in Florida, and they blew them out by 24. I mean, this is staggering. When you see it like that, Akeem, all the numbers, 28, 39, 30, 25. I mean, Dan Hurley says, why do we need to play in close games?
Yeah.
We actually stink in close games. We're just going to blow everybody out.
That's what he said. We're going to keep blowing these teams out of the tournament. He said we're bulletproof. Elite offense, elite defense. That's what they proved once again. Tim, you've seen and you've heard about their practices. Their practices are more difficult than the games because of the way he runs his program. This is a Big East guy. This is where he grew up. He grew up in the Big East. This is how he runs his program.
Yeah, I mean, his dad, you could argue, is the greatest high school basketball coach of all time.
Absolutely.
You could probably make a case for guys like Morgan Wooten. But his dad, and, you know, he was at St. Anthony's Jersey City when all of my brothers were coming up. And then my senior night at St. Dominic on Long Island, we hosted St. Anthony's of Jersey City when they were #1 in the country. And yes, they played a boxing one-on-man. They completely destroyed us. But he's got such great lineage, and now he has become the best coach in college basketball, or trending towards that. So what great bloodlines. You know, he learned from one of the best, and then he lived in his brother's shadow.
Yeah, he did.
And struggled with mental health and was open about it because he played at Seton Hall, was never quite the player that Bobby was on the grandest of stage, and that took him a long time, and they had a very interesting relationship. But he said right away in year 1 at UConn, he said, you better get us now.
Yep.
And that was a statement win. I mean, Illinois is a really good team, and they embarrassed them.
You better get us now. And then what they do, they went out and won a national championship, and now they're 2 wins away from back-to-back national championships, which would be the first team to do so since Florida in 2006, 2007. When you try to pick apart UConn, Can you? Is there a place that you can pick them apart, maybe from the perimeter, from the three-point line? Where is their weakness? Because we're sitting here trying to find it. I don't know that we're trying to find it. Opposing coaches are trying to find it. They're not coming up with anything.
Well, in this game, they were 3 of 17 from 3.
Sure.
But when you watched a game like this, really for me, I don't know about you, Akeem, but the thought is the only team that could beat them is a team led by Zach Edey. That was my thought during this game. Maybe
I don't disagree with you.
That's no disrespect to the other teams, and they're all having sensational years. You're still playing basketball this late. Duke's a very good college basketball team, but you know what we've seen, and the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, we're talking about a historic run here that I really felt odds makers, you know, made a bad line on this game. I thought this game should have been about 4.5 or 5. I didn't know it should have been 25. Like
ultimate spread.
Holy cow! So yeah, I mean, and now the way the region has broke for them in the Final Four, you know, they're probably going to be double-digit favorite in the first semifinal.
Yep.
No matter who they play, and then you know, I think there's only one team out there that can give them a competitive game, and who knows if they're even going to be there. Because they're going to have their hands full with Tennessee, Purdue.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you can keep talking about this game because I don't really know who to pinpoint how dominant it was. But I think Donovan Clingan, cha-ching! It should be cha-chinging because he made himself a lot of money in this game.
His nickname is Kling Kong, and he did damage in Brooklyn, and now he did damage in Boston. So and they got the new movie out right now too.
I know,
so,
but
you know, he's the star of his own movie right now.
Here's what I thought of their earlier wins. All right, forget about the first round game. Went to Northwestern. I know the team well. They're missing 2 starters, but that game was never competitive. They run into San Diego State. I don't think San Diego State was the same team that they were last year, but that game wasn't competitive. I was like, all right, maybe they just, you know, caught a good draw and maybe caught teams that weren't that, you know, at 100% and all. Illinois is at 100%. Illinois was playing really well. Illinois scored against Iowa State probably like no other opponent has done this year. And wow, UConn just completely wiped them out.
30-0 run powers UConn into the Final Four that will play in back-to-back Final Fours for the first time ever. That 30-0 run, the largest run by a UConn team since 1990. I mean, my God.
I had 92 here, according to Matt Norlander, against New Hampshire. You got a different nugget there?
That's incredible. The history that they have made. 30-0 run? Are you kidding me? Wow. UConn back in the Final Four. I'm going to keep drinking that water. Tim Doyle, thank you. Our coverage continues all throughout the night. Another Final Four spot up for grabs between Alabama and Clemson. And then on Sunday, the final 2 spots in the Final Four up for grabs. Duke and NC State, Purdue and Tennessee. Our coverage is elite here on CBS Sports HQ as we take you from the first 4 to the Final 4 in Phoenix.